Let's get started, shall we? The date I am recording this on is March 15th, 2021. I have no idea when I will release this video. It could be today, tomorrow, the next week, or when I decide to retire from Titanfall 2. It's a Monday morning. A new trimester of school has just started, and currently I am 16 years old. This is the history of the PS4 community, more specifically my story in Titanfall 2. The beginnings, the ends, the rise and fall of players and clans, and the many conflicts. Before time takes its toll and I lose my memory someday, I want to document all that I have experienced. Again, I repeat, the date of this recording is March 15th, 2021. Our story starts at the release date of Titanfall 2 over 4 years ago, October 28, 2016. Titanfall 2 was released to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. Unfortunately, the launch date hindered the full potential of the PS4 player base as it was released around the same time as Infinite Warfare and Battlefield 1. So, while our player base is many, it's a small world and this means a lot of people know each other. Currently, a roughly estimate about 2,000 players are online each day. If we're lucky, about 3,000. My memory is rough around these parts, but I started off playing the campaign on 70 FOV and default controls. I reached 100% completion on the story in all difficulties and attained every trophy possible. I won't get too personal in my story, but let's just say when life sucks, you need an escape. This game was my escape. As a kid, I was fascinated by the lore, and the mechanics were just perfect. Once done with learning all I could about the lore of Titanfall 2 and searching countless times on YouTube for a possible continuation of the story in Titanfall 3, time passed, and it was already the summer of 2017 where I pressed the multiplayer button for the first time. From what I can recall, I felt a feeling of excitement as I searched and loaded into my first match on Drydock. I remember nothing more and nothing less after that, other than while I played Cloak. Now, let's skip ahead a pilot generation or two. I was pretty much still a noob, probably part of the Titanfall Legends network on PS4. Clan tag, TFL. It was a tranquil, sunny afternoon, one day in the network, and I don't even know why I did it. I started ear-raping in the mic. Guess I must have been some stupid kid who was bored. Some guy told me to shut up, but I didn't listen. A small amount of time went by, and suddenly another player's mic icon showed up. He ear-raped back. We were at it for a couple of minutes before we ceased fire and said hello to one another. The player's name was Instant. He would later become the first member to join jail, other than me who initially created the network. We added each other and began to play with each other. Every day we leveled up our guns, unlocked attachments, just the usual grinding and experimenting in public lobbies. Time went by, and we became good friends. A few more nights passed, and it was around this time I created jail. It was public, with Instant and I being its first 2 members. We eventually met other players through all kinds of means. In one rare instance, me and Instant found some random player in the TFL network who was streaming, and since we had nothing better to do, we decided to randomly spam his messaging inbox with gibberish and other stupid things for a good 20 minutes. The streamer's name was Apollo Titan 840, otherwise known as Spaceboy GM. He would at this time have his notifications turned off. Later, he would go on to join jail, but for now he was just some confused streamer looking at his messages and playing time modes. The next day, strangely enough, he added me and asked to play with us. Once in party, he asked why we did it. I explained all the dumb shit we were doing and he just laughed it off. And then he too became good friends with us and played alongside us. Remember, this is all still in the summer of 2017. On another occasion, Instant was friends with a player called Dylan Lugo. We received an invite from him one night, and we joined up with him, and this Dylan Lugo was friends with more players who actively played Titanfall 2. These players we would eventually meet, play, and become friends with were Starlit Plains 1, Creeper Slayer, Lord Deadhead, and Hi, my name is 42. Maybe more if I remember correctly, but for now, that's all I can recall. Creeper was that one art girl who took interest in all sorts of game lore. Lord was the typical Mexican kid with a loud mic. He was pretty obnoxious and always finding some sort of way to annoy you in his free time. Star was that mysterious, unfriendly guy with a deep voice, but he was actually pretty chill. And Jaime was the only dude who knew how to bunny hop and crack jokes. We played together a lot and all the time. We had fun privates, mainly hide and seek, and the usual public match grinding. Other than hide and seek, we played skirmish, where I found to enjoy Ion and Mainin, as I hit a lot of laser shots on pilots, more specifically my friends. A good while it was peaceful and only curiosities roamed the air. A month passed and we joined the Titanfall 2 community on PS4. Not to confuse you with the actual PS4 community in general, in which my story is based upon, this community was a friendly hub of LFG players, and if you didn't know, it stands for Looking for Group. This was where we met many more players. This was, well, I guess you could say it was our embarking on the new frontier. If you've made it this far into the recording, I assume the video is about 6 minutes or so long by now. Congratulations. This is the end of Chapter 1. The intro. Now is Chapter 2. Okay, so I'm pretty sure this is where things get blurry, but I'll do my best to recover what was lost. For now, let's get some progression in our story. We joined, and we met Sin member El Bastioni. We also met Icarus the Great. These two players would give me the basics and teach some of us how to play and get better at Titanfall 2. Through El Bas, we met KevDman63. Through the community, we met Fused Coma, and by God, this motherfucker Fused was always high. He would invite his entire friends list to privates, and from those large-scale privates, we met Evil. Now, Evil was an asshole. If you're watching this, Evil, you know who I am, and I miss you, homie. Evil pretty much kicked ass, though. In those privates where I met him, he slaughtered my team, and I hated it. I blamed it on the alternator he was using, so he laughed and switched to Kai. Yeah, he's still showing everyone. Me and him trashed off each other, but we got along. He joined jail, and he was the best member in the network at the time. The way things were during this time were pretty much the same. Fun privates and hide and seek. To no avail, there was no conflicts or threats that I knew of yet. This chapter was now taking place in the year 2018, where I played a lot of Destiny 2 with Instant and my real life buddy Grim Reaper 702. Grim went to become jail as well because he got Titanfall 2 in the summer of 2018 and our group got larger. However, Creeper Lord and Don Lugo stopped playing and took a break. There were more players we met along the line and joined up with us, such as Bethomo, Game Crusher, and Kev. Kev was probably the second best member in jail. Evil had the aim, and Kev had the speed. Hide and seek was fun as Star and Kev competed for who was faster. Grim was learning Titanfall 2, and all was going well. Around this time, I made jail private, but we were still not competitive. By this point, I had switched from Cloak to Grapple long ago. All of us were a bunch of memers and casual players. We were the advocates of North American servers. That would later change. The time has progressed and it is now late 2018. Enter the age of public matches. So, public match lobbies, right? Now, let's summarize our story so far. Summer of 2017, we made our foundations. Summer of 2018, more people came along. Late 2018 is where the story is, and where we're introduced to a whole new, non-friendly world. Let's hit it off with what's happening. 3 new members joined jail. Brotherly, Firewhirl, and Lad. A trio from public lobbies. I met Lad one morning after we faced off on Crash Site Attrition, and in turn he introduced me to Brotherly and Fire. Brotherly was a pretty sweaty player. Ronin, Car, Grapple. Fire was just like him, but a little on the smarter side. Lad was a good kid, my age, and was more of an accurate pilot than anything. So, our story continues. I assume you're starting to get an idea from this. We are growing and expanding, but we're still not good. That makes us pray for whoever is. enter the most bloodiest conflicts our server has ever seen. If you've been waiting for this part of the video, then congratulations, we're past the beginning. You're about to be introduced to a whole new world of competitive toxicity. And to me, in the past, if only you had known what you were walking into, maybe you would have quit the game right then and there. To put it in short, there are other clans than us. Far bigger ones with better players. More influence and intent to fight one another in a struggle for power. We were caught up in this as the first encounter with these clans was the stomping of our team. We didn't even know what was happening before it was too late. My happy fun life on Titanfall 2 was thrown into a world of chaos. The score was tilted dramatically in the stack's favor on the enemy team. After that night, we brushed off like nothing had happened. But something did. Instant and a solo Q1 relic a few days after, came across a 6 stack of teabagging Spitfire AWOL users. It did not end well for his team. No one in our group had ever heard of this happening. Like I said, our little world was about to enter one of competitive toxicity. He said the name of the team was BOFB, Brotherhood of Brutality. If you've watched my previous videos from over 3 months ago, keep in mind the date of this recording, you probably know who they are. For those who don't, they were the current superpower keeping a hold on the servers of North America. This network of players were currently killing the active player base, as you could imagine. Anyone who would try to fight back was met with a devastating blow of defeat. Many BOFB members would even go as far as to shit talk and mock those who they were stomping. They had all sorts of players to their disposal, some mouse and keyboard, some good players, some very good players, and a lot of Spitfire users. All bagged and were constantly in a 6-man team, sometimes 8 if they were in PvP. The top slayers of their roster were called BOFB Slayers. To name a few, Ostaka, Grim Reaper 610, Ex-Bedroom Boom, Don't Burn the Loud, God of War X13, and Enigma XI. I mean, I could go on and on. The point is, they were unstoppable. They always had time control first and kept it for the remainder of the game. We were subject to their killing. Every day, getting blown to bits, beaten, and teabagged many times were a common theme whenever we played, and they were present, which was every day. As I said, none of us were competitive and good. They laughed at how they tormented the advocates and stomped lobbies till they died. There was a team that contested them for a good while, and that was the legendary team of pilots, Sin, or Strength in Numbers. Sin was a network of top skill, and even BOFB had a very hard time fighting them. This was the network Elbas was from. Eventually, they all were lost to time, and the BOFB regained control. This time of suffering on Titanfall 2 broke many players. There are 2 options during this situation: get better and contest, or quit the game. We chose neither, as we continued to suffer. I'll be honest, admitting this kinda sucks, and to be fair, what else could I do? I was a boy who wasn't motivated enough to get better. I was naive and weak. In an act of defiance, we threw games. I sacrificed my KD to try and make the enemy team win when they were on our team. Other acts included satcheling their Titans and Titan blocking. If I were against them, I played hit and run. Hit and run was petty. I killed one of them, teabagged, and left the game. I was being so bad every day in the game I loved, and was made fun of. This is what I resorted to. In other cases, I would simply go into a glitch spot and hide from them for the entirety of the match. Looking back on this, it was a dark time for me, and I don't take pride in it. But I will enjoy hearing the news that BOFB was annoyed with what I did. That encouraged me to do it even more, and at the price I would get made fun of, again and again. My mentality was sad. If you're curious on what I use, I transitioned from casual EPG and L-Star to Car, Firestar, and Ion. The Slayers of BOFB continue to ravage North America, friends leaving left and right. Under this despair, I met some new friends who I could actually relate to and lean on for support. I even met someone I looked up to. His name was Astro Boy and Nate, and his group of tight clan members. Along with them, I met Maggie Blasco. I bet the story is starting to get better, isn't it? I finally found some hope and salvation in the community after getting humiliated, right? Well, you couldn't be more fucking wrong. Okay, so we're at a point in time where things seem unstable for a 13-year-old me, obsessed with a game he's suffering on. Before I tell you how it all goes to shit and how I fall into even more despair, let's get you up to date. A few more members like Jetfire and Carryzab joined. These two were happy-go-lucky players and liked memeing. Carry endeavored in Krabers, and Jet liked his L-Star. Jail during this widespread server oppression was surprisingly growing. While we get stomped on and bagged, new additions join. Maggie Blasco joins Jail, and Milk the Universe comes in as well. Maggie and I had a good friendship. I was there for her every beck and call. She was sort of like emotional support, but she had lots of personal problems and would often come to me and Evil for advice. So, if I had a timeline for this story, it would be at the part where some positive things take place. I was good friends with Astro Boy and 8 and his group of casuals. His philosophy was that of non-stomping and using meme weapons to play in lobbies. I enforced that philosophy in myself and would do everything in my power to support him and Maggie and the rest of his friends during this time. I grew to appreciate the game once more and joined the Titanfall 2 PS4 Facebook group Community, as Maggie told me to. I played with them and got Jail to play with them as well. We were happy for a short time entering the very late end of year 2018. The other clans like PUB, LSS, Oath, and GTL thrived, but everyone still had one thing in common: getting slaughtered by BOFB. There were other pub stompers beside BOFB, and we were stomped by them too. We were at the bottom of the chain. Yet, I still felt satisfied with my position alongside my friends. The story from here goes as follows. We were at the bottom of the barrel, and we were holding out for as long as we could. This drove us back into privates, where we weren't playing to have fun like we did in the beginning. We were training to better ourselves against the growing forces. We trained and trained. This period of time lasted a week or two. We got better in movement, skill, and aim. Our top players were Evil, Kev, me, Grim, and Star. Being beaten over and over sucked, but it gave me motivation to finally get better. During this time, Instant got better and started playing with the Volt. Seemingly out of nowhere, he surpassed me, Grim, Kev, in aim, and eventually even Evil as a pilot. Things were looking good, and the days of preparation finally came to an end. Now, it was time to fight back against the dominant force where so many others had failed. It was the day of reckoning that changed us and finally gave us a ray of hope. Our first win against BOFB. And with that first win came many more. I was truly happy. That wasn't so bad, was it? We heard some nice things finally. Some really good things that boosted morale. Well, remember how I said that this would all go to shit? Well, here it fucking comes. Enter the age of betrayal. Astro Boy and 8. The person who I admired suddenly turned on me. His friends as well. They talked about me when I wasn't there, and stabbed me in the back, casting me out of their group. They insulted me and made fun of me. I could only ask why. Apparently, the reason was they thought I was hacking. Yeah, that's the reason. Fucking hacks. I asked if they were serious. Surely this was a joke, right? Well, reality is a harsh place. Over weeks, they conspired behind my back and deemed me a cheater. Suspicion and jealousy took its toll. I didn't realize it then, but the realization set in. They were shit players. The worst of the worst. They didn't strive to get better. They just complained like the rest. They fucking sucked. I never paid attention, but he treated many others like this and casted them out of his friend group. Only this time, it was my turn. I was abandoned just like that. I think it was even raining that day. Looks like God knew how to set the mood. It only got worse from there. In the Facebook group, it was posted public that our chat was being spied on. P-Hub member Han Solo Park posted messages of our chat in which we discussed our strategies to throw against BOFB. This created a state of chaos within jail as we were humiliated once more publicly. Turns out that this mole was jail member Roscoe 2B Bad, who would later leave jail and join the Oath team. But, following the topic of information leaks, The information in our chat was being leaked to BFB through another source, and we had no idea it was happening. We only knew this because a BFB member took pity on us and sent us a screenshot of their chat in which they were all laughing at us and talking about how all of our secrets had been given to BFB through jail member Maggie Blaska. Why did she do it? I don't fucking know. I never expected it to be her. I knew she was friends with practically everyone, but she was willing to please them at the cost of us suffering? Well, I still don't fucking know why. Maybe she was dumb as shit, naive, or maybe she felt bad, but I don't know how she could fucking feel bad for these pieces of shit. The BFB member who screenshotted the chat sent the image to Kev, and in turn Kev sent it to me. Opening this in class fucking shocked me, and I decided we needed a circle of people we could trust. This created the 5 seats of power within our network, the jail wardens, otherwise known as the 5 leaders of jail. Leaders were as followed: me, Instant, Grim Reaper 702, KevDman 63, and Starlight Plains 1. After voting and secretly discussing with many other jail members, even including new recruits like C46, T12, we kicked Maggie out of jail. I felt saddened and betrayed. It didn't help the fact that we were getting shit on, laughed at, and made fun of by all the other groups as well as BOFB. This hurt me. I pretended not to care, but deep down it fucking sucked. It was a long time since I felt this way, but to be honest, I was so god-awfully filled with emotion. Anger. I was pissed off. So very fucking pissed off. Anger turned to toxicity, and toxicity turned to hate. It was only a matter of time before a chain of events tipped the balance of power in our servers. But for now, let's leave the main story and focus on the smaller conflicts at the time. I mean, I did say we would be talking about the rise and fall of clans. Enter the other groups. For the most part, they were all pub stompers and they all made fun of us as well. LSS was the second powerhouse next to BOFB. It was made by a player named Lionhouse King, and their objective was to overthrow BOFB and take them out. Yeah, well, that failed absolutely fucking horribly, with the BOFB and LSS scrim being at a score of 200 to 650 both matches. Attrition scrims, FYI. But it was a devastating loss towards LSS. BOFB had more celebrations in honor of their glory, as they beat the legendary team of Pilot Sin in a no-rules scrim match, I should say. They were supposed to do a scrim with rules, but BOFB decided to take the W and run away. Only 2 of the BOFB top slayers showed up, Grim Reaper 610 and God of War X13. Sin, as said before, was lost to time now. Going back to LSS, LSS had the roster of Death 123 556, Don't Burn the Loud, I Need a Dub, Nudser, DBZ Killer, and many more within their ranks. They eventually disbanded and were never heard from again, due to the community watching their loss against BOFB. P-Up was a brother clan to LSS and were essentially a bag of fucking dicks, especially Han Solo Park. GTL was a group of pub-stomping Mexicans who were friends with P-Hub, and there were other groups lost to time that I can't exactly recall right now. Some groups had no name at all, as they were a cluster of players who played every night, such as Liam GGBB123's group. Liam was a pretty good player. Stimcar and Ion just like me. Well, except I was Grapple. He was a streamer, and it was said we rivaled each other when it came to laser shotting pilots at that time. You can see it as a clusterfuck of disaster, and once again in the community, we were at the bottom of the barrel. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's go back to the extremely pissed off me in the middle of it. This was my turning point, as I wasn't the same anymore. My skill increased dramatically, and at the same time so did my state of toxicity. Enter our rise to power. The year is now 2019. This was the year that everything changed, for better or for worse. Let's start off with the first major event. There was a subdivision of BOFB called Vile. Vile was founded by a good friend of mine named Bedroom Boom. Today, I trust Bedroom as an ally and player, but back then, well, I knew him as one of the biggest pieces of shit BOFB had in store for the community. Player X Bedroom Boom was an AWOL Spitfire main and was an alright Titan player. He was very good at pissing you off. Once he got in that noggin of yours, he had already won. Bedroom knew how to play mind games with his victims and was one of the community's biggest tormentors. Literally. He also bagged a lot and was even one of the 9 leaders of BOFB. Now, Bedroom originally created the vilest names, or as we know it, Vile, for his spin-off version of Something Funny. He wanted to invite the most hated players in the server to the network. This included Sirkin, a real fucking asshole who messaged anyone who did better than him and accused them of hacks. Ash Zombie, a Titan main who constantly spewed hate mail out of his ass, and many more like them. I'm just going off of assumptions on what Bedroom was looking for at the time. Well, it turns out none of these vile bag of dicks joined the network. Instead, the top slayers and actual good members of BOFB wanted in Bedroom's newfound network. It wasn't just BOFB though, as he had 2 Titan mains, Nugser, and CMM V13, the legendary pilot himself. CMM would later be known as Calypso. So, Bedroom's plan on comedy failed, and inadvertently he created the next great superpower in the servers of North America. After this, BOFB and Vile were good allies with one another, dominating North America once again. To us smaller players though, it just looked like nothing had changed. BOFB was still BOFB. Well, something did change alright. I'm not too sure on the details, but BOFB was essentially attacked and crippled one day. Was it a new network? Was it the return of Sin? An invasion from a foreign clan? No, it was an attack from the inside out. BOFB had been split in 2. This is the following. Vile had declared independence from BOFB and has completely separated itself from the network. Apparently BOFB had been treating its members wrong. Again, I don't know the details, but tensions now heated up as BOFB was weakened to a point of vulnerability. Vile, however, was strong in power and membership. Since there were no bad members of Vile, Vile had no loose ends. BOFB still had a few top slayers like God of War, X13. He was the best slayer, and the rest of the B-tier roster members were a part of BOFB still. But Vile had Calypso, the player who had the power to rival God of War, Mostaka, Don't Burn the Loud, Nigma, Grim Reaper 610, aka Tom Nady, and more. There were many cases in which Vile and BOFB members were a part of both networks, so it caused much confusion and chaos. But one thing was certain. Both sides were undoubtedly strong. As you can tell, this was the fall of BOFB and the rise of Vile. This was also the rise of Jail. There were 3 clans currently waging war across North America. The 2 superpowers known as BOFB and Vile, and then the underdogs known as Jail. With the weakening of BOFB, this gave us an opportunity to strike at the very heart of their stacks. They were facing a much more aggressive version of Jail, as we had changed in skill level and attitude. After all that I had been through, I was ready to take the offensive and attack. No remorse and no mercy. We weren't on equal footing with those above us, but like I said, this was our rise to power, and soon enough we would be. We started off with taking a stand to BOFB publicly. We were no longer running and hiding. Instead, we were at the height of a revolution long coming. No longer were we the advocates of North America. Now we were the underdogs. In our first offensives, we launched an attack on Twitch streamer Apostle X, who was a BOFB sympathizer and often stacked up with them to shit on lobbies. We stream sniped him 4 games in a row and dipped before he could call in reinforcements. The next step was targeting BOFB stacks with Jail stacks and beating them. We carried out a multitude of these strikes and morale generally improved. It was all the better because at the same time BOFB had to worry about fighting Vile. As they were fighting each other, we faced these battles head-on with full aggression and tactics learned over time. We developed our way of time control, and during this time we even had catchphrases during battles. Locking down the skies, taking back the night, and bombing runs. Locking down the skies was a term meant for dropping multiple ions or tones and killing any pilots who weren't behind cover, specifically pilots who were flying in the air. Taking back the night meant dropping all Titans at once to re-establish Titan control and take back the lead. Bombing run. That was Kev's state-of-the-art technique for launching cross-map grapple slingshots and dropping ordnance on enemy positions loaded with Spitfire campers. We scored wins all across North American servers, and so did Vile. BOFB would become extinct only to appear rarely within the following years to come. Jail had established itself as the next big clan. On a side note, we had a change in leadership. To understand this, we have to rewind time a bit to where Maggie was still in jail early 2019. Grim Reaper 610 is a BOFB top slayer and is also another BOFB leader who would go on to become Vile. He was attempting to get into jail, and I did not exactly allow that, as one of the rules is no BOFB allowed. Star, however, wanted him in and was displeased along with Maggie since they both wanted him in because they liked him for personal reasons unknown. Unyielding to their requests, I said no. Star got drunk the same night and left jail. This meant a spot in the leaders was open and we needed a new warden. Evil was the perfect man for the job, and for the remainder of 2019 he was jail's 5th warden. Star eventually rejoined jail, but had to pay the price of a 40-minute trial by Spitfire initiation. If you don't know what that is, don't worry about it. Jail had many things during this time. Star was the Kraber, Evil and Instant were the aim, and Grim was the tactical support. Kev was the speed, and I was the Ion who took a position and helped my pilots. During the summer of 2019, the mega network from Europe had made itself known. It was the NLS clan with over 300 members strong. They declared a fight on the Facebook community page and tensions heated up once more. Now it's time to learn about Titan mains. There are the big 3 LTS clans who have had a 3-way war for the longest time, that being the Unholies and ITDT located in America, and Obi-Wan, later known as Dog, in Europe. The short story is we met Jamie on the Facebook group when he was still an OK Titan player. His rise to power as the top Ronin on console would come soon enough, but that's a story for another time. Jamie became good friends with us and essentially helped Jail as our Titan support. We became allies with Obi-Wan. All this set in motion confirmed our rise to power, and all that was left to do was kill all those who wronged us in complete and utter annihilation. North American servers looked like this. Jail underdogs rose to power. Vile dominates all over the server. All the other pub stomping clans squabbling all over the place, and NLS arrives on our shores. 2019 was the year that changed everything for better or worse. It was the year a chain of events was set in place to tip the balance of power in the server. Jail began indulging in the bloodbath that was already taking place, known as the Siege of North America. We scored victories on every clan who once wronged us across the community. This was Jail's retribution, and I was dead set on exacting my revenge. I'm not the same player they stomped and kicked around. What happens next is as followed.
Difference between what it means to be good when you're trying to be epic. No, you don't gotta believe in me, nothing can stop me, I already said it. I'm taking everything they stole from us. You got your problems, I'm a whole nother. I'm giving people something to believe in, I'ma show them freedom like a bone cutter. We gon' fight back. Yeah, we breaking chains over here. You can stay over there. Cause this is revolution mixed with execution, we insane over here. We taking over, making no excuses. They can't control us when they only shooting blanks. Don't obey the rules, we go against the grain. We fight the system until no one is enslaved. I'm defiant, I rise in a crisis. I know what the price is, I'll show them what a fight is. I'm the leader of the pack, I'm here where you at. Set the flame, light a match, I will fight back. I'm the leader of the pack, I'm here where you at. Set the flame, light a match, I will fight back. Nah, this ain't hate speech, this is faith preach. This is Shakespeare mixed with Banksy. This is screaming out until you can't breathe. This is I don't care how long it takes me, Cause I know freedom reigns here. Already overcame fear. So if I wanna see it, then I gotta be it. I'ma be the change. I'm defiant, I rise in a crisis. I know what the price is, I'll show them what a fight is. I'm the leader of the pack, I'm here where